Hello everyone, MC Mura here, and today we have something very special. It's my first time doing sort of interview broadcasting, and I got a very special guest. He is one of the most prolific and honestly one of my favorite YouTubers for fighting games, and he's a great coach for Street Fighter as well. We got Chris F. Hey, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, dude. Hope you're doing well too. Thank you so much for calling me. I've been watching your videos since I started doing Street Fighter stuff myself, so I'm also a big fan of yours. So I'm really excited and really happy to be here today.
Thank you. The pleasure really is mine. So here, obviously it's not the first episode, so we don't got solid format going on, and it's very special. So the idea is I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. It's 25 questions to be exact, and I want your impulsive answers. Shoot, don't think. Okay.
I'm not gonna do anything, and I'm gonna unfiltered Chris F. Let's go.
Let's go. So the first question is, what is your breakthrough moment or video? The one video that you made and you're now everyone's gonna know who I am.
I think that was with I can't remember which one exactly, but it was one of the first Street Fighter 6 videos I did, either how to shimmy or how to do delay throw tech. That was the first video that actually got thousands of views in a really short amount of time. And that's kind of what started my whole big break through YouTube. So it was either the shimmy one or the how to delay throw tech. Those two stand out in my mind.
That's nice. So I looked at your channels, and it seems like you started as a King of Fighter player. There was a lot of King of Fighter 13 and then 15 guides. What are your thoughts on King of Fighters 15 and generally SNK right now?
Okay, KOF 15, I think it's actually a really good game. Version 1, not so much, but most SNK games, version 1s are pretty rough, so that's not unique to KOF 15.
Yeah.
But it ended up becoming, I think, a really good game. The only issue is the online was bad for too long, and that kind of killed any momentum it could have had. So the player base got really small really quickly, and it never really recovered for that. So it's really hard to actually get games. But in terms of a game itself, I think it's great. KOF 15. SNK games in general, I think the gameplay is always really good in SNK games. Balance is an issue, but that's kind of a different topic altogether, but that gets ironed out eventually. But gameplay is always really, really good, but they just end up making either the same mistakes over and over, or similar mistakes, or mistakes that nobody else is making that I feel hold the game back quite a bit. And I'm not just talking about balance, I'm talking about overall quality of life, story mode, online, matchmaking, just the game as a complete package. I feel like they're great fighting games, but they are bad video games, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what I mean. And it seems that is... It's more apparent than ever with Fatal Fury, because I think they tried really hard to make it big with Fatal Fury. I can see that they thought it was gonna be the game that's gonna put them on the next level, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can tell they did a lot with marketing, but yeah. Anyways, let's go to the next question.
Okay, so the next question is kind of specific, but I saw that you had King of Fighters 13, it seemed tournament videos on your channel, right?
Yeah.
The game is notorious for its trial mode. I feel it's a really good fighting game, but it is known as that hard trials, fighting game. So what are your thoughts on 13 as a fighting game, right? And the difficulty of it?
Oh man, I have two different answers for you. So if you asked me when I first got into the fighting game community, I'd say it's the best game ever. I love it. It's amazing. Because if it wasn't for KF 13, I wouldn't be here making videos or talking with you. That's the game that really got me into the fighting game community. That's the first fighting game I took seriously. I went to locals, I went to tournaments, I traveled, I went to EVO a couple times. I got into the fighting game community with KF 13. So that was my first real fighting game, my first King of Fighters game, so I loved it then. But now, kind of looking back, now that I've played other King of Fighters, I spent a lot of time playing 98, 02 UM, 13, 14, 15. I think it's a really fun game. I think it's really unique, but it's definitely not my favorite King of Fighters game. Just because, not because of the combos really, but just normals kind of suck in that game. And cross-ups are really crazy, and it just makes the game feel a little bit too unstable to me, and it kind of feels like the least KOF game out there, other than maybe 11, but it's definitely the least KOF-y out of all the KOF. So it's not my favorite KOF, but it is definitely one of my top 5 fighting games.
So you started with it. Did you go back to play the older games, or you continued on with 14, 15?
I played 13 and 14 competitively. Then after 14, I just really wasn't feeling the game anymore. There was like some weird balance stuff going on, and I just kind of fell out of love with the game competitively. And then I took a little bit of a break for a couple of years from like competitive tournament stuff, and then now with Street Fighter 6, I'm kind of like getting back into it.
Okay, I see. So we talked about like the game having hard trials, right? Which fighting game do you think had the hardest trials? Did you try the Street Fighter 4 trials? Because it had some demonic combos.
I did. So I think Street Fighter 4 and KOF 13 both have really hard trials, but they're for like different reasons. So KOF 13, everybody says they're hard. I think they're hard if you don't know how to do KOF stuff like button hold buffers and stuff. There are lots of shortcuts and lots of tricks that all the veterans know that can make the trials easier. They are hard, but they're much easier if you know the shortcuts and the button hold buffer kind of things. But I always say KOF 13, the trials, the left hand is difficult. The right hand's not that bad. Like in terms of like button timing, there's no one frame. There might be one frame links, but they're kind of generous. You can do button hold. So the right hand is really easy, but the left hand is really busy. Then Street Fighter 4 kind of has the opposite problem. The left hand is generally kind of easy to do. The game had very easy, lenient, like Shoryukens and stuff. The game, like Street Fighter 4, I remember back in the day, all the vets were laughing at it that you could do DPs just by like shaking the stick from like down to down forward. Yeah, right? So the left hand is pretty easy, but the right hand is incredibly difficult because that game had tons of one frame links if you wanted to get optimal punishes or if you wanted to finish the trials. So it's kind of difficult. It's kind of, I'm not saying more difficult than KF 13. It's equally as hard, but for different reasons, just because the right hand is so strict with your timing.
It's crazy that like in Street Fighter 4, Vega doing crouching jab, crouching jab, crouching jab is legitimately difficult. So what is your favorite game then? Like favorite game of all time?
That's a hard question. Favorite game of all time, as a player or as a spectator?
It doesn't even have to be a fighting game. Like if we're just talking like a video game and fighting game, but let's say as a player, right? Player first.
I am gonna, as a player, I'm gonna say KOF 13 just as a whole package because it's what got me into fighting games and it kind of, for lack of a better word, changed my life. So I'm gonna have to say KOF 13 is my favorite.
That's an interesting answer. So we're gonna pivot to Street Fighter 6 now because I know this is probably like what the audience want. Sagat obviously just came out, so we're gonna talk about him a little bit. What are your initial thoughts on Sagat so far?
Initial thoughts. My initial thought was he's really good. Then a couple of hours later, or like the next morning, I was like, this character sucks. And then now I'm back to he's pretty good. So I think this character, like he's developing a lot. He has lots of tech. He's not nearly as simple as you think. If you're trying to play him like old school boomer Sagat, like 1992, throw fireballs, do Shoryuken, you're gonna get smoked. He's not that kind of character anymore. He's very much a knockdown, Oki, set play, corner carry kind of character. So as he's developing, we're seeing more stuff. I think this character is going to end up being really good, but I also think he has a couple of flaws that kind of hold him back in certain areas. And I think he might have, I'm just guessing, some polarizing matchups. And then on the defensive side of things, it's going to be a little bit rough. His supers are slow, so when he's in burnout, things are tricky. And stuff like that. So he's definitely strong, but he also definitely has some weaknesses. But I think his overall Oki and his damage output can probably make up for those weaknesses, as long as the player is really good.
Yeah, I can see that. So what are your thoughts on the idea of bringing back characters, but changing them drastically? It comes back to like, do you like the character or do you like the function, you know? Because I know a lot of OG Sagat players who are not loving the function of Sagat in this game. You know what I'm saying? And I also heard like a lot of Ryu and Akuma players who like Akuma's playing the fireball game. That is like the Ryu function, and they kind of switched. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm a little bit more, how can I say, forward thinking with it. My thing is, I always want to see something new come out from fighting games. If I wanted to play like old school Sagat, I'm just gonna go play an older fighting game. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again over multiple games. Like I don't want to play Street Fighter 2 Sagat in Street Fighter 2, he wasn't in 3, but Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 6. I don't want to play the exact same character. It's boring because then you buy the DLC, you're just doing the exact same thing you did for 20 years. I don't know. I don't think that's interesting. I don't think that's fun. And I think it's kind of good to give a new perspective or a new
spin,
kind of say twist, spin on an old character. Because I don't know. I think for fighting games, like what's the point of making a new game if you're just going to make the character play exactly the same as they always did. Of course, you have to include things that were iconic about the character and things that make the character feel like you're still playing that character. Like Sagat, he has a Shoryuken. You can't take away his Shoryuken or his Fireball at all. But I think changing the character concept keeps the genre fresh, and it doesn't allow people to just keep on doing the same thing over and over again. I like to see new ideas, even if they're not good sometimes. I think it's better to take a risk and try something new.
Okay, I can see that. So I'm gonna ask you about some of the competitive players, and it's about who do you like, right? It's not who's better; it's who's your favorite of the two, right? Maybe personality, maybe play style. If you wanna elaborate, if you don't, it's cool. Punk or idol?
Punk.
Momochi or Tokido?
Tokido.
Oh, really? Momochi is my favorite player of all time.
It's a hard one. You're getting me in a tough spot here. You're making me choose just between two, and I'm giving you my quick answer, but I'm gonna go Tokido.
All right.
And I'll give you a quick reason for Tokido. Like he's not. I think they're both really good players. But I live in Japan. I speak Japanese. Tokido's personality on his YouTube videos is much more fun, much more interesting. Momochi's very much like the cold, calculated kind of guy.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's great. It makes him a very strong fighting game player. But Tokido has an entire package in terms of watching him as a player, listening to his content, listening to him talk, watching him stream and stuff. He's more entertaining than Momochi, so I'm gonna go with Tokido on that one.
Yeah, I can see that. What I like personally about Momochi is that he's so clean in how he plays, and it's always amazing to see. Tokido feels
Momochi is the
clutch.
consummate professional.
Yeah, yeah.
He is the fighting game machine. I respect that.
This next one is tough. May lose you fans, but Daigo or Justin?
Daigo.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, I can agree. What do you actually think about his gameplay in Street Fighter 6? Because one of the things about Daigo, especially in the older games, and especially in Street Fighter 5, the game was very anti-projectiles, and he picked Guile, and for a while he bent the game to his own will. You know what I'm saying? It's I'm gonna make it work. And it still kind of seems the case with Street Fighter 6. He's trying to do that, but what are your thoughts on him in general?
I think Daigo is doing really well considering how many hats he juggles. He does a lot of different stuff. I know he's kind of pulled back on his streams and stuff like that, but he does a lot of stuff in the community. He's coaches a lot of the younger players. He's balancing a lot of things right now, which people probably don't see behind the scenes. Daigo's my GOAT. He's my favorite fighting game player of all time. I know it's stereotypical. I know it's a really common answer, but I just gotta be honest. He's my favorite. I think he's doing really good, but I don't think he's really been able to find that thing that makes him get top 8s consistently or whatever. He's not washed.
No,
I know a lot of people say Daigo's washed. He's not washed. Dude's still sick, but he just doesn't have that it factor in this game like he did in Street Fighter 4 and the beginning of Street Fighter 5.
Daigo's a good. I've been. So I worked production in the Gamer 8 event, and it was an invitational. So they had Daigo back there, right? And I was looking at him after he got eliminated. I swear he went to the lobby and he instantly started the game training mode and he's practicing. And even though it's not showing in his results, he's such a hard worker. Dude is amazing. This next one is not a player, but okay. You wanted to elaborate on Daigo. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm good. But let's keep on going.
This one, the next one is tricky. Broski or Brian F? As a creator, which one would you rather watch?
That's hard, Broski or Brian F. You're putting me in a weird position here. Okay, let me give you this answer. In terms of Street Fighter 6, I'm gonna say Broski. For fighting game content in general, Brian F.
Yeah, that's I can see that.
I know. So how can I say? I respect them both for different reasons. Brian F has made a lot of great videos, not just on Street Fighter 6, but also on content creation in general. And I learned so much from him and the things that he's put out. And I've been able to use some of the concepts and the ideas he's put out in his overall how to become a content creator guides to help build a community myself. So if it wasn't for those videos, I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing right now. So I have both immense respect and gratitude for what Brian F has done. However, I think it's very apparent that he doesn't like Street Fighter 6 in his content, and that tone kind of ends up seeping through, whether on purpose or not. And I think it makes his Street Fighter 6 content a little bit less fun to watch. I think it's more fun if you don't like Street Fighter 6 too, which is a lot of people, but I do like Street Fighter 6. Yeah. So for me, it's just kind of like, I can kind of feel that. But Broski is very, very good, and Broski is kind of like, he's kind of like the Momochi of like the Western FGC. He's very analytical. He's very good, and he's also got this kind of like stereotypical British snarky sarcasm to him, which I think is really funny. So he's fun to watch.
It's very charismatic too. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he is. He's a great speaker.
So who is your favorite like content creator, fighting games or otherwise? Like, who do you binge watch?
I actually don't watch too much like general YouTube. The only YouTube I watch other than fighting games is like bodybuilding stuff. So I have to do the GOAT Sebum for other kind of content. But for fighting game content, I think the only people I really watch are like, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch too many people right now because as for me, for my content, I have a really hard time with, if I watch too many other videos, I get scared that I'm copying their style because I'm very bad at, how can I say, one of my weaknesses is I always compare myself to others.
Yeah.
Always. Whether it's content creation, gym, school, work, whatever, I always compare myself to others. So I've found out recently in the past couple of years, it's better if I just kind of like take myself out of that situation and I don't watch. So I've been watching a lot less content lately than I usually do just to kind of get my head out of the game. But for the Japanese FGC, I watch lots of Japanese videos. I think Taquito has a really great channel. I've been watching lots of his stuff. It's really fun. So I've been enjoying Taquito's channel a lot lately. Also Mago. Oh, sorry. You know what? I misspoke. I do have an answer for you. My favorite, Dogura's YouTube channel.
He looks
there. You go. There's my answer. Dogura's YouTube like channel is my favorite. There you go. There's my answer. Took me a second. Sorry.
I really like him actually. Is it just Dogura? Because I know like Tasty Steve Dogura. Like, how is it supposed to be pronounced? Like the correct way?
Yeah, Dogura.
It's just so he's just adding like a dramatic spin to it, but it's just Dogura.
Pretty much, okay.
Yeah. So which Street Fighter 6 character surprised you the most? Like I'm gonna be honest. I've always hated Ed, right? I always hated him from Street Fighter 5, but it was like, oh my god, he's so cool in 6. Like I didn't expect it.
Let me look at the character list here. The character that surprised me the most, yeah, I think you kind of got me a little biased here, but Ed, he got the biggest glow up. He's really cool. Also, I'm gonna say one more character that surprised me the most, Blanca. Blanca is actually like a solid character that has interesting gameplay mechanics. He has set play, he has tech. Before, Blanca was always kind of the character just played by like crappy players.
Yeah, I know.
you know what I mean? He was like a crappy character for crappy players, but now he actually like is legit and good. And I don't like his character design, but he has stuff, and the stuff he can do is interesting and fun, and I think pretty cool in this game. So Ed and Blanca are my two most surprised in this one.
And who disappointed you the most? Like you had high hopes, but didn't hit.
Had high hopes, but didn't hit. Who do I think is lame in this game? In terms of, okay, that's a hard question.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Like, for me personally, like I used to be like a my player in King of Fighter games, and she's so boring in Super 6. Like,
yeah, so I didn't have expectations for Mai or Terry though. That's the thing. I can't say I'm disappointed. I didn't have expectations. So who did I have expectations for, but didn't end up being cool at all? Let me go with, I'm gonna say M. Bison.
Really?
He's really good. Like he's really, really good. But he is like the most boring, straightforward character ever. There's not much freedom in what he does. He just does his thing. He does it really well, and that's it. Like he can't teleport. He doesn't have like a teleport dash like in Street Fighter 5. He doesn't have like the command grab. He just really has like no sauce, but he just opens you up once and does a ton of damage.
Yeah.
So he's top tier. He's really good, but he's just like, how can I say, so incredibly simple. Like even simpler than Mai, really. Just so incredibly simple that he just doesn't feel that interesting to me.
You know, it's actually kind of funny that Bison is my favorite character in the game right now, and it's because I love the certainty of like I put the bomb on, and now the game slows down to a crawl, and I kind of like that. Like that aspect, I really like. So with Street Fighter 6 and its gameplay, and I'm talking now competitive, right? Like high gameplay. Which character do you think is underrated? Like people generally rate them not that high, but you think they're better than the general perception.
Can I give you two answers?
Sure.
Blanca. And this one's tough. I want to say Ed, depending how you speak to. I think a lot of people gave up on Ed after they nerfed him that second time, right for Season 3. I think he's still good.
Yeah, he have to be. Like, he have to be. Yeah. But
I think people don't really value Blanca that much, but as we can see, like with Mena, he's like the only one getting results with him, but I think the character is perfectly strong.
Is there anyone in Japan, like high-profile players that play Blanca, or is he just not that?
I think it's Nishikin is the best Blanca. I think I don't pay too much attention to top-tier Blancas right now in the scene, but I think Nishikin is probably the best one. He's really, really good.
But he's always been like a Blanca OG. He's not like
the Blanca OG, but I think he still is. He might still be the highest ranked one. I haven't checked lately. We had the MR reset recently, but I think he's still up there.
And kind of like the opposite question: which character do you think like people rate too highly, but you don't see it? Like
too highly, but I don't see it. That's a hard question. Too highly, but I don't see it. Okay, I'm gonna give you a biased answer, but I'm gonna say it: Guile. Because everyone always puts Guile into like top 10, top 8, or whatever, but he never really wins tournaments.
Yeah.
I think this character is super solid, super good, but he just has some really polarizing matchups, and when he starts to get snowballed a little bit just because of the way his supers work and everything, and if he's in burnout, it's really hard to defend against supers like level 1 or level 3 because you lose charge if you walk forward. I think he just doesn't really have what it takes to win like top 8s, like win like first place consistently. He's super good until he gets to like top 8, but then after that I think he falls apart a little bit.
Because I heard like the JP matchup is impossible. Like that's what I'm always hearing.
It's not just JP. Like the thing with Guile, he kind of shits on most of the cast, especially in pools, right? But then once you start getting to a higher level, he falls apart because his bad matchups are actually pretty bad, and he loses to like some random characters. Like Dalsum is horrible. JP is bad too. Obviously, I don't want to downplay how bad it is. It's rough. But like Marissa is like super duper hard. So you get these kind of like really weird matchups where it's like also like Mai's a little bit tricky. I don't think it's bad, but it's a little bit tricky. Things like that. He just kind of has And Bison is tricky because he can just OD Cycle Crusher through your booms. Like any matchup where you can't just like throw boom properly is really scary. So I don't know. I just feel like he has like some really polarizing matchups, especially once you get to like top 16, top 8, and it just makes it hard for him.
Is Cammy still difficult? Is it still considered one of his hard? Because
it's not easy.
About are like super popular characters. Like you're gonna run into them in upper brackets. Yeah,
it's not easy, but it's not. I don't think it's super difficult either. Like if you gave me a choice, I'd rather fight Cammy than Marissa, JP, Bison, or who was it, Dalsum. Like easy. I'd take Cammy happily.
Because, one of the things they did with this season, I'm noticing, is that people are getting level 3 super a lot. Like, I'm seeing it a lot round 1 these days, much more than the previous seasons. And I imagine, like, once Cammy get level 3, she completely shuts down Guile. Like, he just can't throw booms now.
Exactly, you can't throw booms, but that's when she has level 3. But these characters, like, you can't throw booms, like, ever. Like, Dalsum, if he's in the air, it completely negates his boom, even without level 3. Marissa, she can Superman punch through even before you throw the boom. So if you throw a boom and she kind of already inputted it, you lose. JP, same kind of thing. He's really good at burning Guile out. Once Guile's in burnout, he can't do anything. Like doing like a reaction level 1 against this guy is really hard. And just that kind of stuff. So Cammy, it gets hard once she has level 3, but it's not hard from like round start frame 1. But these guys, like Marissa, JP, Dalsum, it's hard. Like and Bison, it's tough right from the start.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. So what is your favorite thing about Street Fighter? If you had to pick like one thing that you really like about Street Fighter 6, like what is it?
That's a hard question.
Mechanically or otherwise? Like,
I'm gonna say this is gonna be a weird answer, but the online.
Yeah, that's
I think this game. I mean, like training mode is great. You know, there's World Tour and all that stuff. I don't play that shit, but there's World Tour and all that stuff. You know, there's good quality of life stuff. But at the end of the day, if a fighting game doesn't have really, really good online, whether you live in Japan, North America, South America, you know, Europe, Middle East, if it doesn't have online in the year 2025, your game is like dead on arrival. And this game had amazing online from day one. There were never any issues. Like, I mean, every now and then there's some weird hiccups with CFN, but for the most part, the game works really, really well. You never really notice lag that much unless it's a really bad connection, and the game just works. I think the MR system, while not perfect, it's by far the best ranking system we've ever had in a fighting game so far. You know, we can play tournaments online and everything like that. Has a Wi-Fi indicator, which is always nice, that kind of thing. I think the game just does everything right when it comes to online. It just works with no headaches whatsoever.
I think that's also why we're seeing like successful players now from like South America, the Dominican Republic, the Birds, like all over the world, talents or popping up.
Yeah, because you can practice and play with anybody whenever, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't have to physically be there. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's really, really great. So what is the one thing you hate the most or dislike? Let's not say hate, let's say dislike.
The one thing I dislike the most is the developers, like, I don't know what it is. If they're afraid or if they're not willing, whatever, to do anything differently in terms of balance with like system and stuff. We've gotten very marginal changes. Now, maybe they have a vision in their mind. This is exactly the game they wanted to create and this is what they're going for. But they've just been so apprehensive to give us like anything, not just balance, but like, don't forget, this is an online, this is like a live service game. Yeah. It's like the least live service game in the world. We barely get costumes. Yeah. We barely get content. There's like one DLC character every 4 months, right? Which end up being pretty fun, but like it just feels like such a slow drip. Even like the balance patches. Like we get a balance patch, everyone's hype. You know, one character loses their throw loop, then everybody else still has them. It just like, it's such small, minute changes. And I mean, I think the game is really balanced competitively. Like, there aren't any characters that are, like, so bad you can never make it out of pools or, like, you can never make it into, like, top 64. Like, you know, most characters are balanced pretty well in this game. But it's more or less felt like the exact same game since the beginning or, like, the middle of Season 1. Right at the beginning of Season 1, it felt like a different game because you could whiff light kicks and still drive rush. Like priority drive rush. But I mean, other than like the first couple of weeks, it's been more or less the same game. Yeah. Right. Of course, some very minor changes. So I think my least favorite thing is just the slow drip of any kind of content or any kind of changes. It feels very like we're just waiting for something, anything, and then we get like swimsuit 10 Cammy, and everyone just loses their mind because it's the only thing we've gotten in like 2 years. So it's just like, I don't know. I want to see more out of this live service game that's not a live service game.
So, you know, if you were in charge of Capcom, right? Because I think maybe like they're afraid because the game was too successful. So, like, how would you adjust? Would you like focus on cosmetics? And if you're constantly at least like seeing new stuff, new characters, maybe that could keep the player base satisfied? Or would you like risk it a little bit and try to change the game mechanics and like how it functions?
No, I think, so if I were Capcom, the number one thing I would focus on, I actually wouldn't focus too much on the competitive community. I'd focus them on a little bit, but balance changes are just going to keep the people who are playing happy. But I think the one thing this game did really well is that it brought in a lot of new players, and that's why the game is doing so well. Now, I don't know how it's doing in the rest of the world. I know in Japan, this game is doing absolutely fantastic, like crazy good. And a large part of that is because a lot of young people, like age 18 to like 25, have picked it up. And I think this game needs to focus more on doing fun things that'll keep on bringing people in. Things like cosmetic, things like, you know, just cosmetics, music, things like that. Competitively, I think competitive players will end up playing no matter what. Like, I mean, how many people complain about Drive Rush? They still haven't quit the game, right? Yeah. Competitive players. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to competitive players at all, but if I was Capcom, I'd focus a little bit more on the casual side and actually give them some content, some new fun things. And I'd also work on communication a little bit. I felt like I didn't play Street Fighter V because I didn't like it, but I still watched tournaments and everything. And I felt like Street Fighter V, Capcom then had really great communication for what things were coming, what they were working on, what they wanted to do. They used to have like videos with the developers talking about like what they're going to do next season, like giving like a little overview of the character. It felt like they were really trying to like talk to the community and try to keep everyone on the same page. And now it's just like nothing, and then they'll do like some like, how can I say, some Gooner bait costume drop with a sneak, with a, how can I say, kind of snarky Twitter post, and like that's it. We don't get any info from them. So I'd kind of like better communication. Also, the CPT stuff is a mess, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole different discussion. Why is Cody not in Street Fighter 6?
Sorry, one more time.
Why is Cody not in Street Fighter 6?
Why is Cody not in Street Fighter 6? Because Cody's lame. I've never liked that character.
Oh my!
I don't know why. I don't know why people like Cody. He's so boring. He's like the. I don't know. I never got the. So I'm not an old school Street Fighter player, so I don't really have like any love for like the nostalgia characters. But for me, it's like he's just this kind of bored, kind of whiny, complaining prison guy. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. And like, why does a prison guy have like whirlwind shots? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I've never got Cody.
But he's like the only real Street Fighter in Street Fighter. Like, you know, he would throw rocks, he would have a knife, you know.
True. But I don't know. I don't know. Boxers though is Street Fighter. That's Street Fighting, boxing.
Yeah. So if you were Capcom, like what would be the season 4 pass? Which, assuming they're still sticking with 4 characters, who would you bring back for like year 4?
I'm gonna give one character that I want, and then the rest are characters I think would probably sell really well. The character I want back is Urien. I just think Urien's cool. I want Aegis Reflector to be really broken and dumb. I think it's fun. Yeah. Urien, I'd bring back Sakura because she just prints money.
Obviously.
Sakura, everyone's been asking. I don't think she'll fit the system whatsoever, but Makoto, I think she'd be a fan favorite to come back. And then if I had to pick one more, I'm going to go one more character to bring back that would be really fun. I'm going to say, it's a hard question, the last one. Just to get some chaos, I'm going to say Rolento.
He would be cool. He would be really cool.
I'm going to say Rolento. I think Rolento would be really fun. I think Rolento would be super fun in this system. You could do some dirty stuff with that character.
That's a good roster, actually. That's a really good roster.
Yeah, that's my 4.
Is so cool. I know a lot of people like Alex. I know he got his fans, but I was so disappointed when they put him, because I was like, why not just put Urien in there, or like there's so many more interesting characters. Feel like, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. A big pet peeve of mine, something I really dislike, which is like a huge trend in fighting games lately, not just Street Fighter 6, but I really don't like it when they take the DLC from the previous game and make them DLC again in the new game. It just feels really lazy. Like Tekken is really bad with that. Like the Season 2 DLC is basically the exact same Season 2 DLC as Tekken 7. Right? It's like Armor King, Anna. It's like, again? Really? This one too. Sagat was Season 3 in Street Fighter 5. He's Season 3 here. It's like, really? You're doing it again? Or like, I don't know, DLC Akuma Season 1. It's like, again? Twice in a row? You're gonna make him DLC? You can't just, I don't know. I guess it sells, but I don't know. It just feels cheap and lazy to me. I really hate it.
Because, like, who would buy Dhalsim as a DLC character? Like, let's be honest.
Well, you don't have to go to that's going to the other end of the spectrum. That's like making the least popular character DLC. I'm not saying do that, but like, I don't know. Don't put the exact same DLC at the exact same season again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
at least change the order. Pretend to trick us.
So my final question is: should DLC characters be strong? Because obviously, there was this period with Season 2 where we got like Bison, Akuma. They were super powerful, changed the meta. But lately we had Elena and Sagat, and it seems like they're balanced for a Season 3 that doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts? Should characters just be good out of the gate, or...
Okay, so I think DLC characters being too strong is one of the worst things you can do in a fighting game. I think it ends up making nobody happy, because for the most part, like, I think people like you and me, people who watch tournaments, who enter tournaments, who, you know, are familiar with the competitive scene, we understand what makes a character strong, what makes them kind of like broken or not broken, or what makes them really bad, and we will make our choices about whether we play that character or not play that character based on our perceived version of their strength.
Yeah.
Like whether we perceive that character as strong or not strong. And the competitive scene, if a character is incredibly strong, everybody's going to play that character. Right? Like, because really, if you're trying to justify at the end of the day, when you're at a tournament, you have to ask yourself, well, why am I entering a tournament? Well, to win. And if you're not playing who you think is the character that gives you the best chance of winning, why are you even going to a tournament in the first place? You're not going to have fun. That winning is fun, not being in the tournament.
Yeah.
So if a really strong DLC character comes out, you have to play it. Then not only are you playing it, everyone else is playing it too. So then what ends up happening is the really strong characters, I don't think low-level players or mid-level players like the casual base will really notice how strong they are, because they kind of will lose to any character no matter what, because they don't have good fundamentals and things like that. But they will see the same characters over and over and over again on stream. And what's the point of these tournaments? Really, what's the point? The point is to generate hype and to give fans something fun to watch. And if they're just seeing the same character over and over, it becomes a less fun viewing experience. Then they just end up repeating the same things that everybody else is saying in chat or on Twitter online. This character's broken, even though they don't understand why. And it just creates this really weird atmosphere around the game. So I think DLC characters, number one, don't release broken DLCs. I think that's really, really just a recipe for disaster in the making. Now, I don't think it's good for them to be super weak either. But what I do think is important is that the character is fun. Not necessarily strong, not necessarily weak, but fun to use. And I think that is the most important way to go. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Sagat right now, why a lot of people are complaining, especially a lot of the OGs. Because the people who played Sagat back in the day, they didn't play Sagat because they want to lab their plus 27 on knockdown frame kill into meaty overhead that beats 4 frame jab setups. Right?
Yeah.
That's not what they're doing. They want to throw fireball, and they want you to jump, and they want to do shoryuken, like what a tiger uppercut, whatever. That's what they want to do. But you can't do that with this character. So for people who really love him, their fun factor is close to 0 right now because they changed the concept so much. And I think that's also kind of bad. For people who are newer to fighting games, never played Sagat before, I think they can kind of go into it and be like, okay, this guy's like an Oki rush down, like corner carry character. Cool, got it, let's practice. But I don't think he's fun for veterans right now. So I think that's the most important thing when creating a DLC character, because the lab monsters will go crazy, the tournament players will go crazy, but everybody else will be like, yo, this character's dumb, he sucks, I can't do DP. And then, I don't know, just kind of brings negative vibes to it.
So we had like 9 characters so far. Which one do you think was like the perfect DLC? Where it's like the character has good strengths, complicated, a lot to learn. In general, like which one do you think was like, alright, that was the perfect way to do like a DLC character?
Perfect DLC. That's a hard question. I'm gonna go with Aki.
Oh really?
But not release Aki. Like once they patched her after like the beginning, at the end of season 1. Because Aki is, other than right when she dropped, when she actually was bad after they buffed her, she was a really good character in season 2. She was getting results, good character, but she wasn't top tier that like everybody from like the casual player to the top level players, nobody was really like pulling their hair out about this character. She was just very good. And I think after they buffed her in the beginning, she kind of struck the perfect balance between really good, really interesting, really fun, cool design. I mean, she's an upgrade from Fang in the last game, which I despised in every single way as a character.
I actually love Fang, by the way.
Really? I can't stand the goofy characters. I'm against goofy characters.
It's not that he's goofy. It's like I feel like it's a perfect marriage of the character personality and their gameplay. So he's a coward, right? And his playstyle is the ultimate low risk, low reward. He's safe on everything, but he does no damage. And I kind of liked that conceptually, like how it worked out. I don't
Gotcha.
know.
I feel on that, but yeah. I think Aki was probably the coolest. And then second place, probably Ed. But he was really strong when he came out. But balance aside, yeah, Aki and Ed were probably the 2 best for me.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to join me today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was really, really fun. So is there like anything you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask?
What's your favorite KOF game?
My favorite KOF game, it is, I'll say 50. I really like 50 because it have Shirley. So,
all right, then I got one more question for you. Last one. Let's just get this. If you could remove one character from the game in Street Fighter 6, who would you get rid of? I know my answer.
If I could remove one character, I kind of like them as a character, but I don't like Mai in Street Fighter 6. Like, I love Mai, but I don't like her function in this game. I think they could have done her a lot more interesting.
I can respect that. You want to know my answer?
Who?
Lily.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Lily need to get redesigned. Like,
I hate this. I hate everything about this character.
Yeah, I can see
everything.
Like, my issue with Mai is like, she is the most Street Fighter 6 character, you know?
She's the worst parts and the best parts of this game in one character.
Yeah. I feel like Terry is a lot more interesting. Like, I didn't have much expectation from the two, like I said, but Terry ended up being like a really interesting character. At least even like his combo routes, his Oki, his balancing in general, I feel like was really good. With Mai, it was like, I don't know, could have done a lot more with her.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's just pretty boring. Yeah. I totally feel you on that one.
Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really had a good time.
Yeah. Okay, guys. If you like this, please let us know so we can do more of that. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.
See you guys. Peace.